Okay, hello dear students. Good morning to all of you. Okay, let's begin. Start our today's politics. Next topic of the first chapter from the politics, majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. On the last class, we have told about the two stories from the Belgium and Sri Lanka, and we have understood about the scenario of the ethnic composition of the Sri Lanka. The Sinhala speakers are the majority team or the population in the Sri Lanka. So we are going to discuss the next topic. You can see the title, majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Okay, that means Sri Lanka became an independent country in their 1948. They were got freedom in their 1948. That means just like our India, Sri Lanka also one of the colony of the Britain. Okay, Sri Lanka also one of the colony of the Britain. They have got independence in their 1947, but just after 1 year in their 1948, the Sri Lanka also got the freedom in their 1948. After that, they were formed an election, or they were conducted an election, and they were formed a democratic elected government. But this democratic elected government was mainly dominated by the majority Sinhala group. The majority Sinhala group is the dominated in this democratic government. So they were trying to start their majoritarian policies towards the other minorities, or they were the Sinhala majority government decided to establish the Sinhala supremacy over the country. Okay, what is the word meaning of majoritarian? You can see the glossary there. Okay, you can see the glossary word meaning of the majoritarian. A belief that the majority community should be able to rule a country in whichever way it wants by disregarding the wishes and needs of the minority. So the word majoritarianism is a belief of a group of people. That group of people are the majority in that country or that region. They are trying to think that it should be able to that community to rule that area or that country according to their own wishes and their own needs by disregarding the needs and interests of the other minorities. That means they will take full dominance or the predominance of should take the dominance and predominance of the other their own community towards other people or other minorities. This is the word meaning of or the glossary of the majoritarianism. Okay. Anyway, in the year 1956, this Sinhala government of the Sri Lanka, they were passed an act in the year 1956. Sinhala government, they were passed an act. Through this act, they were brought or they were provisioned three things. One was they were considered Sinhala as the official language. One of the act was one of the implementation or the decision through this act was the Sinhala as considered as the official language of the Sri Lanka. And second, they took the preferential policies in the government job and educational university seats for the Sinhala candidates. What is second? They took preferential or favorable policies to getting easily education jobs and university seats for Sinhala candidates, and they also brought some changes in their constitution that should foster the Buddhism as the official religion of the country. They were considered the Buddhism. The Buddhism is the majority religion of the Sinhala speakers. So they were considered Buddhism as the official religion of the Sri Lanka. So this form of the government measures or the measures of the Sinhala government one by one created a discontent or an alienation in the mind of the Sri Lankan Tamils. They think that or they thought that none of the Sinhala leading political parties and leaders, they were not sensitive, they were not sympathetic towards the culture and educational aspects of the Sri Lankan Tamils. So they felt that The constitutional changes also in such a way that also denying the equal rights and opportunities for the Sinhala and also bring the discrimination towards the Sinhala speakers. So as a result, it created the wide tension between these two communities in Sri Lanka, the Sinhalas between and Tamils, created great conflict and acute problems was emerged. So to defend against the majority policies or to defend against the supremacy policies of the Sinhala government, the Tamil people there organized and they were formed different political parties and they were highlighted three demands. One was to recognize Tamil also official language there along with the Sinhala language considered Tamil language also official language, and their second demand was to provide equality and opportunity in education and job. Second was to provide equality and opportunity in government job as well as the educational opportunities. And their third demand was to provide regional autonomy or a self-rule in the northeastern part of the Sri Lanka, which region was majority by the Tamil speakers. But their last demand or the third demand of the regional autonomy was continuously denied by the Sinhala leaders. As a result, they were formed a political organization, different political organization, and they were demanded independent Tamil Alam. Alam means state, and as they have needed a Tamil state in the northeastern part of the Sri Lanka, they were demanded a independent Tamil Alam or state. Okay. But this time also the Sinhala leaders as a result, it led to a civic strife or a civic war between these two communities. Okay. The word is civil war, you can see the new word is civil war. The violent conflict between opposing groups within a country that becomes violent that it appears like a war. Yes. Conflict between the two groups within a country, not two countries, within a country, instead of the country, it has happened. The conflict or a war between the groups is called a civil war. So the civil war was occurred in during this 70s. And what happened? The data created so many setback to the Sri Lankan economy, society, and the culture. The number of the people were killed, or the thousands of the people were killed from the both communities of the Sinhala as well as the Tamils. And second was the number of the people became refugees and they were homeless, and many of them were lost their livelihoods, and they also faced the terrible setback in the educational, cultural, economic, and social aspects of the country. Okay, that's the things about from this topic. Now we can start this class. Thank you for all. Good morning.